Forex Nation, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. We're looking at pound USD, and what I wanted to talk about in this video is, are there any possibilities where you can try to identify when a reset is likely to appear or likely to happen? So I think a good example that we can examine right now is pound USD as it's literally happening right now. So on the right, we're looking at pound USD on the daily, and then on the left, we're looking at pound USD on the 1 hour with the actual levels. For those of you asking, these levels are not indicators. They're literally just plots that I put on my charts myself every single day, and I update them every single day for FXM Plus members. So if you want to have this, just go to FXM Plus. The links are in the description. But if we take a look here at pound USD on the daily chart, right, we could see that we went up and we retested the area of 124. Okay, that area got rejected, obviously, and then it even got stronger because of the fact of news that was released by the Fed. Now, the news that was released by the Fed was so aggressive, you could see here 2 days straight have dropped, that essentially it created a gap that needs to be filled. So this happens all the time. You can see here that this is also news led, and it always leaves a gap. If we look on the 1 hour chart, they're very common on the 1 hour chart. You could see here as well where the news happened, and obviously because of news it just moved in one direction right away. If anything, it just helped create a peak formation low, which is fine. But we know that if we take a look actually on the dollar index, if we take a look at the dollar index, we're coming off a peak formation low, so we actually should see dollar strength. So if we're looking for dollar strength, that means that pound USD should be actually selling off, right? And so even on the daily here, you could see that we've broken this structure right here on the daily, and we're going up, right? The next target that we would have for the dollar index would be somewhere around 105 for me at least. So back to pound USD, if we're looking for dollar strength, that means that this has to go down, all right? The price action would need to continue down. The problem is, as you know, is that typically these markets work within a certain range in order to get the markets where they need to go. So essentially, if you've watched any of the blueprint videos that I've been releasing over the last several weeks, you know that a market maker cycle is typically anywhere from 2 to 4.5 times its own ADR, and then we have to see some form of a peak formation form. Whether that peak formation holds or not is a different story. The important thing is that we need to get some kind of a peak formation to start reversing before we can continue to move down. If we look at this move here from like 124, let's say the target would be 118. It's 636 pips from the very top to the bottom. You can't make that move in one cycle. It has to be split into 2 cycles. Okay, so how do you do it? Well, the first thing would be to create a first cycle, which is what they did here, which is 488 pips. Now you see obviously the gap that was created, market makers go up and close out the gap, and then now we start to see a move down here on the daily candle. So what does that mean? Well, if we go ahead and we mark out from the top of this wick all the way to 118, it gives us about 400 pips or so. Pound USD typically is right now is moving at about 118 pips per day. So that would give you enough for another cycle. The way that you can identify when potential resets are going to potentially happen is by looking, in this specific instance, we're looking at the dollar strength that's going to happen based on the DXY chart, okay, that we see here on the daily. We see this pushing up, and continuing to want to give us dollar strength. Well, if it's going to give us dollar strength, then obviously this is going to cause pound USD to fall. If it's going to continue to fall, then we have to have a reset. All right, so at some point here, we're possibly anticipating this right here to be the reset. And then if we measure this out to the next point of structure, which is 118 on the daily, and the 118 basically is the bottom of these wicks here on the daily, and then over here as well. Well, if we go to the 1 hour chart, you know that 118 is essentially right where the last reset happened down here. So we do have structure down here that we can use. So essentially, if we measure that out, you're going to get obviously the 400 or so pips. That'll be enough for another cycle. So you could potentially anticipate that this right here is going to be a reset. And you can also look on the 15-minute time frame and see that we're not getting any kind of buy setups like you would normally see when coming off a brand new peak formation low, right? When coming off a brand new peak formation low, you should be looking for buys. But if we know the higher time frame structure that it's very likely to reset, then we could potentially now look for evidence of that. And so a good example of that would be here today, where we ended up getting a type 2 pattern here to sell, and then also getting a continuation trade to sell. So you see the evidence here that's pointing to the fact that we should potentially get a reset, right? So you have the first setup, which was here, right? That was the first setup. That's a type 1, type 2 setup. And then the second one was in the US session where you ended up getting, so the continuation trade is simply just the retracement back, and then this right there. Put on the EMAs, we could see that basically the retracement went back to the top of the range and went through the 50 EMA, which is where we like it to see stop. But essentially all it did is just retest the highs again to grab any more orders that are sitting up here, or basically traders that are trapped in buys. This is just one way that I believe could be very helpful to you in trying to identify when resets are going to be potentially happening. And it's really has to do a lot more with the higher time frame, like a daily time frame, that you could spot these areas for, because you could see that, you know, that area of 124 held very well. We moved well away from that particular area, and we're still continuing to do that. Once you start to put in the cycles, the market maker cycles of, you know, of going from 2.5 to 4.5, you could see that there's evidence here, obviously, of the gap that was left from news. You start to put all this stuff together. You can start to put together the fact that a reset is very likely to occur, and then you could actually start to look for sells, because that's what the market is doing, is selling off, because it's showing you the dollar strength. All right. So guys, I hope that this video was helpful. I hope it brought you some insights. If you like this type of content, guys, do me a favor, just like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you need any more help with this, if you want to join us on FXN Plus, the links are in the description. Guys, thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Guys, if you need any more help, or you like the content that we provide on this channel, come on over to the FXN Masterclass. It's available right now. What you get essentially is a lifetime membership, a full mentoring course, an advanced course. You get the Blue Summit videos, weekly Q&A sessions every Sunday, group session archives, which that by alone has about 100 hours of content, weekly analysis videos, midweek analysis videos, MT4 and MT5 indicators, a customized trading journal so you could actually journal your trades every day, and then a backtesting journal that you can use to backtest and collect all of your data. Not to mention a mentoring private chat, guys. So all the information is in the link in the description if you want to join now. We look forward to seeing you there, guys.